Hello everyone, this is Planckera, and welcome to my universe. So, last time, I've been slowly but surely figuring out her torso, but I think I am just making this way harder than it needs to be, if I'm being honest. So, let's go ahead and clear some stuff here. And, got some stuff in my throat. Anywho, where was I? I didn't realize I had filled in the entire layer at some point. Oh, it's fine. Basically, I think I have the tilt going back at a little bit too extreme of an angle. And I don't think her waist actually goes completely behind her like that. And I think that where it connects on her hips is a little bit lower. And that's what was throwing me off there. So, here, hold on. I got a quick cough. Let me just get that out there. Incidentally, I'm also a little bit sick. Yesterday I didn't sleep very well because of it, so we'll see what I can do today. All right, where is my layer? There it is. Okay. So, yeah, what made me kind of realize it was when I was starting to draw this guy, something felt a little bit off. And when I thought about it after stream, I was like, I don't actually think this should be at quite such an extreme angle. So that'll make my life a little easier. And I'm also going to get rid of the little folds here because I think that the folds going around her dress should actually be going horizontally, like this. And then they'll just be thinner in certain places and stuff like that. And then just, again, due to how tight this upper part is, I actually do think we probably get a fold under her chest there. Just double check some of the references I'm using here. I may not draw it like that. I think this is one of those things where you just draw what looks nice and you don't worry about it so much. And I always have a little bit of trouble with that. This is where I think design is more important than realism. So I'm going to think with those in mind. And I'll probably, to some extent, still focus on making things correct. Like I said, to an extent, it's a good place to start if you're not sure what to do. And I'm not entirely sure what to do yet. So, I will start there. Let me see. Yeah, they do go down to about the little frills here, so I think I do want this kind of shape. And this will be being pulled tight here. So I'll leave it like that. And I actually do believe that this should be much higher up. Should connect to the center here. And that's gonna fold out like this. And don't worry, when the time comes, I will put more purple on her dress here, and that'll get rid of all of my placeholder colors and whatnot. So just gotta let it happen. Okay. So there we go, and that's making a lot of the stuff around it look a lot nicer too. So, that's nice. Okay. Now then, I want to... Before I start worrying about where her side is and how things are tilted, I want to worry about this here. This frill around her waist, and then also the little strappy things running across her stomach there. Oops, wrong layer. I think I'll actually do the straps first. So I'm going to hide the frills for a moment, and I'm going to decide how big this should be. So let's see. How exactly do they all go in? Okay, so there's a lining kind of running down the part running across her waist. And it looks like it goes away as it gets further down, because when I look further down her dress, I don't see this dark lining or anything that's kind of outlining both sides here. I just see a shadow, and those look like distinctly different colors to me. Okay, and I'm guessing that these diamonds are meant to be kind of what theoretically holds these in place here. But it looks like not everyone gets a diamond, so... Let's see, does it continue up there? Can't quite tell. But it looks like to me that it stops here, so it doesn't quite reach the top. Okay, so we'd have the bottom one kind of over here, but I want to start with the top. I think that'll make my life a little easier. So it doesn't quite reach the top. And let's see, with the way her body is curving, I do believe that there will be a slight curve to this. I actually think that might be a little too high, so let me bring it down just a little. And with the way that this is moving around, I think that this part will be covering slightly more. So this part is going to be a little bit more open. This side is the side that's facing us. So if I made the dress area look a little bit more three-dimensional, what I could do is add just a little like shadow right here. Because I think we see that side. Not going to do it like that, but that is how I'm making sense of it in my head. Okay. Now I want to look at roughly how far apart they are. They are close enough together that they do touch. And the ones going up are on top of the ones going down. So that works for my purposes just fine. How thick are they? Let's see, about the same thickness as... I don't really have a good point of reference here. I'll say they're about the same thickness as one frill up here. And like the ones on the bottom here have been liquefied to oblivion, but I think the ones on the top are pretty okay. So maybe I should make them just a little bit thicker, but not much. Okay. And then, so on the original here, they do just barely touch as they get there. So in order to make it look like her waist is going back, I'm going to have them overlap just a little bit more. Let me get the size a little better there. And so that is my current plan. They're going to overlap a little bit more than they would otherwise. Just need to get this angle in a way that satisfies me. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 2. I think I'm on track for what I want to do with them. This will be 3. And this will be 4. And was not including the bottom ones, right? 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, I was. Okay. Now this is a little bit hard to see right now, but I have an idea of what I'm doing, and my computer keeps thinking I'm double-clicking when I'm not for some reason. It's very awkward. Okay, so I'm just going to put some preliminary shadows on there just to help me see, and I will organize these a little bit more later. Okay, so I've apparently decided that this one is on top. We'll put the little shadow here. And here. Maybe I should have done these all in separate layers and just merge them together when I'm done. Because, man, that is quite a blob. Okay. I'm gonna try that again. I can't see. Part of it might just be the sick, but I gotta work around how I'm feeling at the moment. Okay, in that case, let's see, I'm gonna put my colors here so I don't lose them, and then I'm gonna do something to hopefully make my life a little bit easier. Gonna break out the hot pink and just draw a line through what I perceive the center of her stomach to be. So running down here and out like this. Okay, and this should help me figure out where the dress should open to. Right now, I think we got a little bit too much on this side here. I don't think this side should be super folded, but it's fine for stuff further down to be. Okay. There we go. Okay, let's try that again. I know that I titled the stream, I gotta stop overcomplicating things, but I can't help myself. It is the nature of my mind. Still not entirely satisfied here. Okay. Once again, I'm gonna put this back so I don't lose my colors, but I'm gonna just get all this going the way that I want first. Once I'm happy there, then I can worry about everything else. I want this to be just a little bit straighter through here. I'm not sure if this triangle is opening wide enough to be in perspective, but I think this is probably okay. Let's see. That's fairly thin on her, right? Yeah. So this distance in the back is not only squished, but it's also wider. So I'm hoping that'll make it look like it's going further back. And also because it's driving me crazy, I'm just going to do this now. Okay. And now I gotta get those straps in. So once again, I will be starting from the top, but this time I'm gonna mess around with some other layers and alternating my colors a little bit better. I think this should be a little bit lower. Okay, this time before I leave, I'm going to go ahead and put in my initial shadows. Just so this way I can actually see the straps. Okay. There we go. And now I'm going to make another layer. And I'm going to use the shadow color to make this one. This way I can very clearly see where they are. So this will be the second one. And you can see I'm making a little bit flatter than they are in the original. I don't quite like that angle. They do need to be a little bit flatter. They are receding into the background after all. But I think I might have overdone it there. Okay. So once again, I will put in the color there just so I can see where the straps are, and I think that is enough. Okay, this will be for the third set. Gonna have them overlap a little bit more. And as it recedes into the background, they will be overlapping more and more. You can see this one I have mostly covered. I think think that's overdoing it just a little, so let me try again. So this one will kind of come out here. There we go. Yay. I don't like this one. This one needs to connect down a little bit lower. Okay, but I think that's pretty good. So I'll put in my basic shadows. And then the bottom one, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, is already quite straight. So this one is going to be like super covered up. And we only see like a little tiny sliver of it. Okay, and that looks more correct to me. I think I might need to like raise up the corners, but I think this looks way more accurate. So let's just go raise up the corners a little bit. I'll drop the middle. And I think I can get rid of my guide here. There, I think that looks much better. So I think I'm happy with it now. Okay. So I think this will show a degree of perspective. Showing her waist kind of going backwards a little. I'm going to just rotate it just a little bit here. I just want to make sure that it looks like it's wrapping around her tummy here. There we go. That's pretty good. Just, yeah, that general idea. And I do think that does help to show the perspective there. Then I think I'm going to work on these parts that I still have hot pink. Gonna go ahead and push them into place because I do think that this area is looking pretty all right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach these and make sure that they look nice when attached. That everything is just playing nicely together. Okay, I think I actually want this one to come over just a little bit more, which will mean I also want to respect the angle of her body here. So this coming over a little bit more will mean that the thing that connects to it will be in a slightly different spot too. But I didn't move it that far. So I think it'll be okay. Okay, I'm not quite happy with the perspective on this triangle. Actually, no, I want to get both these layers. Okay. So let's get this a little bit more perspective. We'll let it sit a little bit more nicely on her chest there. And everything will look a little weird right now, but you know what? That's okay. I'll go back and fix it all up when the time is right. All right. I think that looks a little better. Looks like it's sitting on her chest a little bit more. And now I adjust the straps just a little. And I think that'll get me the shape that I want on this side. I just noticed that this side didn't feel curved enough. So this should help me get the shape that I want here. Yeah, there we go. That looks much better. Perspective is hard. It's okay. It's like recently I did a bunch of studies on face stuff and how to move it around in 3D. So I just need to do the same thing with the torso, and then I think I'll have less of a hard time. with all of this, and I can actually hopefully draw it a little bit faster. Okay. And I'll stop overcomplicating things, and that'll be great. Love not overcomplicating things. Okay. I'm gonna add a few folds in here. Just a couple. I mean, I like I said before, it's more about what looks nice as opposed to what's realistic. I can see that her dress here has like almost none, but I like folds. I think that they look pretty nice when they're done right. So I can do what I want. And then I can have a couple of things kind of dig into those folds and make it clear that they're in front of them. So like I can have the dress poof out a little bit more and do interesting stuff like that. Okay. Now before I put in the little waist frills she's got there, the ones that I currently have bright yellow so I can see them, I want to figure out where her side is. So personally, I think I've got it pretty close. So we got one part kind of coming through here. And if I were to drop a shadow where this line continues, it'd be like right here. So I'll go ahead and just drop some stuff around here just to bring it out a little better. I'll go ahead and rotate this guy a little bit more. I want him to flap around a little. I think that'll look nice. I don't want to do too much of that kind of thing until I have the waist rails on, but I can get a little bit in. Because when I look at her body here, if I were to do a little doodle off to the side again, what's happening is, do it from the side. This part's going back, this part's kind of coming down. And so you can see that there's a pinch in her stomach here. So this part's pinching, this part is stretching. So basically that means that there's going to be a lot of little things kind of pinching together right here. And I can draw the dress like that. Now here, it's going to be much more flowy. And that's the basic idea there. So I want to put in some things that make it clear that her side is pinching. The pinch is probably like right around here. Because this is the middle of where she's going forward. And also a slight tilt to the side and some stuff there. So I figure most of the pinches here, most of the stretch is going to be on the back. So we don't entirely see it. There will still be a little bit of pinch over here. So this is not the part that is stretching. This part is still being pinched, just not as hard as on this side. So that's kind of how I'm seeing these things. Anywho, let's figure out where the side of her body is here. So we got this kind of coming through here. So I think I'll add a little bit more light through here. And then I can put those folds back. Okay, and then the edge of the fold is going to be like, or the edge of her torso, probably somewhere like right around here. I'll just go ahead and mark it for now. I don't know, that's a little thick, isn't it? Maybe it's more like, let's see, here. I'll just go ahead and mark it for my own reference. But that'll probably be a line that disappears once everything is closer to done. Okay, and then I want this to wrap. I don't mind that those folds look like ribs right now. That's totally cool. I will construct them later. Okay, but I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. I'm not gonna do any of all the decorations or the little, I don't know, spiny parts on her design yet. We're just gonna leave it like this for now. Waist frill time. So I think I'm actually just going to clear this for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm looking at where they attach. So the top part of them. And they're pretty much even with the bottom one here. And then they just, you know, casually wrap around. Over here makes them look a little straight, but here it looks like they actually go higher on the back side than they are on the front side. A little hard to compare, but that's what it looks like to me, so that's what I'm going to go with. Okay. So the very, very top is kind of even with this last strap there, and then it's going to wrap around, getting a little bit higher as it does so. And I think this is about where her waist is. You know, in theory. Did I make it too short? No, I think it actually looks pretty okay since it is going backwards. Nonetheless, these are questions I have to ask myself. Okay, so now we'll wrap this around. Okay, and then I can draw the frills. I'm thinking about how this is situated. Do any of the frills overlap the point that they are connected to? They might on this side, but I don't think they do on this side, so I'll go ahead and draw this side first. Just to kind of let myself get started. And yeah, this feels right, so you can see that this frill is kind of getting on top there. So that means that this is more pointed towards us. Okay. And the absolute easiest way to show perspective is that things that are overlapping other things come forward. So you can tell that no matter how I draw it, that this arm is above her dress because it is on top of it. The dress is slipping behind. And you can tell that this part of her arm is in front of this part of her arm because it's on top of it. It doesn't matter how I draw it. That is like the easiest way to show perspective. So I want to make sure that these frills here are on top of these straps. Because that'll just make it abundantly clear that the frills are in front. And that is the absolute easiest way to do it. Because you can't do it wrong. And that's how you kind of are able to get some crazy perspective. You know, where the feet are like super, super tiny because you made the head super big, and then the feet are kind of behind the hips, so you're looking like straight down from them. And that's how all that's able to work. Because as long as something is on top, it'll recede further back, and your brain will make it look right, because your brain likes to cheat. Your brain likes to try to make sense of the world. It likes everything to make sense. And so it'll kind of fill in the gaps for you. And I also noticed here that the frills in front are smaller than the frills in back, so I'm trying to make the ones in the back a little bit bigger. In fact, I think I'm going to let the arm overlap here. You know, for the same reasons I was just describing. That will put the frills in the background. The arm will clearly be on top. Okay, so I think that's sufficient for now. I'm gonna leave them yellow for the time being, just so I can see a little bit more clearly. I feel like she's still a little thick. But on the bright side, everything else is looking pretty nicely structured, I think. I don't like the way her legs are positioned. I think I want them to be a little bit more stable. I think this lady's pose works because she has feet showing, and the feet end up making her look more stable. Whereas on mine, I don't know, she just feels a little off. But I have a thought, so it's okay. But let's worry about that waist first. Let's just... I'm thinking about how it connects, and while I was very particular about her torso up here coming this way, I don't think it is necessarily true for her entire outfit down here, because at some point... Actually, let me back up. The way that I draw these things, or think about them, is we have a head, then we have the upper torso, and we have the hips. And then in between them, kind of, or more accurately, the upper torso should be your ribs and shoulders. So, ribs and shoulders. And the reason that I do it like that is because the ribs are like nice and stiff, but your waist and area where your stomach is actually very flexible. You can do all kinds of twisty things with it. So these things can basically move independently of each other, mostly. I mean, there are limits, of course. And so this part's, you know, going this way, but the hips down here, they're further in the back and they're going more straight down. So at some point around her tummy, the direction's going to change. And there it's going to like swoop over. So that I like to keep in mind. And there was something I wanted to reference, but somewhere in that description, I totally lost my train of thought. Anywho. What was I checking? I don't remember. I'm sure it's fine. So I think... Let's see, I want this to follow... through here. Just gotta follow that shadow that I have there. And then I think the light part is gonna come a little bit more out over here at some point. I'll get rid of my excess there. And then I can just add the little folds that I think look nice. Kind of wrap around her tummy. I'm putting one at kind of where I think the waist changes direction, so there's going to be like a pinch here. Okay, that does look a little better, I think. Let me check this side one last time. Yeah, a little bit more here. Okay. Okay. Yep, I think that's looking pretty good, and I think her dress is looking okay, actually. The way it's flailing about, like I have to reattach this frill still, but that's fine. Me of last time did pretty okay. Okay, so before I go and finish adjusting the dress here, I do want to get her legs looking a little bit more stable. Okay, so I just cleared them. Let's send them back. Like, where do I think her hips are? This is going over here. Her hips are going a little further back. They're probably like somewhere here and here. So I'll have this leg kind of come out like this. And this one kind of come down like this. I'll just let them stick together. I should have drawn the one in back first, but that's fine. Okay. So I just wanted them to feel a little bit more stable, and I think that kind of leg pose is totally fine. It didn't need to be anything fancy. I'm just checking on her lower body and making sure that it's all facing the way that I want it to. I think I might curve this inner dress part around her legs a little bit more. Still can't tell how it works. That's just one of those things. I cannot quite tell how it works. I wish I could just see if it was supposed to be a little bit tighter or a little bit looser. And the main thing is just that I can't tell if this is the back of this part of the dress or the back of this part. Because, like, there's the frills here, right? There's no frills on this part, so that makes me think it's the back part of the gray part, not the purple part. But then where's the backside of this? Like, it just disappears on her thigh. So, I'm guessing it just goes up, but then you see it on the backside. So, I don't know. And then I see what I thought was the backside of the gray part down here. Below. The dress there. So it's just like, does she have a petticoat? But I don't see anything that looks like a petticoat over here. Character design is hard. So, this is probably just gonna be a case. I'm gonna do what I want, and what do I want? That's the first question I gotta ask myself here. What do I want? How? Okay. So if I'm just going to design this, and I'm just going to design something that looks cool, and we ignore all practicality and anything that it might actually look like, what do I think will look the coolest? So, for this lower part of the dress, I wanted, and to an extent her hair, to show that there's, like, power in the magic circle. And it is, like, making everything super windy. And kind of blowing her dress up a little bit. So, that kind of pattern will, having the dress be looser, and therefore blow a lot with it, make everything look more dramatic. Or if I try the other pattern, I'll duplicate this, and I make the dress thinner, let it wrap around her legs more tightly, but still, I don't know, blow around a bit. And this part can kind of go further back, and we can get another thing here. Does something like this make it look more blowy? I'm gonna think about it. I'll sit with this pattern for a little bit, see how I feel about it, and in the meantime, I'm going to connect this front frill back to over here. So this part... Oh, I hit the straps for some reason. Anyway, I'm going to connect this part to her upper body there. Let's see here. This doesn't look like it's going back yet. I should fix that too. So a hip here. lighten up this spot here. Okay, that's a little better. And I'll figure out how to recede this into the background. What's probably going to happen is I just take this super bright color that I haven't been using. Let me get my swatch, actually, because I get the feeling that a lot of my colors here are off. So I'll take my light color, which I believe is this one, or is that... No, that's what I'm using for... Yeah, this looks like my bright color. And I'll plop them in the front there, and then I will take my mid-tone color, which I think is this one. Kinda plop that down here. Get a little bit of folding, and I don't think this should necessarily be folded, but I think it should probably be curved. Right now I have it very straight. So I'll curve it just a little. Just a little. And somewhere in here, her hips will just start kind of going back. So where do I think her hips are? Kind of over here somewhere. It's not as important on this side, frankly. And then everything kind of goes back here. And I'll let the folds exist like here, and I think this should help everything kind of go back. I don't think it's going to be as strong in this side, so I think I might actually just not worry about it there. Okay. I think that's going back a little bit more now. So let's see. Her chest area should also be bright. I keep a little bit of the mid-tone up at the top, but just a little. A little sliver. Just to give it a little bit more transition before it hits the darkest part. Okay. And I think that's fine. I do. Okay. And this way I can have a little bit more darkness out on this side when the time comes. It makes sense in my head. So I think all is well. Okay, you are... Okay. Back to the dress. Let's see here. How do I want to do this? How do I want to do this? So what I think I want to do is I want this to kind of floof out here. Then I can attach this first little thing here, and I think I would actually like it to curve this way. I just want it to be loose and therefore kind of change direction a couple of times. And I think that looks pretty good. And like I said, we still have a pinch here, right? Because the part that's stretching is on her back. So her front side is pinched, it's just the pinch is the most extreme over here. Because she's also kind of tilted this way. And actually, now that I think about it, I did want her to be at a little bit of a Dutch angle here, so I'm going to tilt her legs just a little. It should make the tilt feel a little bit less extreme. And then to go along with that, magic circle, I'm going to tilt that a little bit too. I cropped the image at some point, didn't I? Shoot. Well, that's kind of unfortunate. But I think that part will be covered up by the foreground, and if it's not, I will make it so. So I think this should be okay. But I'm just going to tilt it just a little. It'll make the picture look a little bit less stable too, which I think is perfect. And while I'm here, I'll do the same with all the castles stuff. Just gonna tilt it very, very slightly. Put everything at just a little bit of an angle. Okay. There we go. I think that is about what I wanted, and I guess I should get the rocks as well. Just tilt the few rocks I have very, very slightly. I don't think it'll make that big a difference, but... yeah, for these, I actually don't think I need to do that. Okay. Because they are rocks, and they kind of do what they want. Alright, back to dress. I am gonna be a little bit all over the place today. Being sick is rough. Okay. So with the way that this is structured, we'll have a light up here. There's gonna be a light through most of this, I think. Maybe just a little bit of extra darkness up there, but I will probably mostly visit that a little bit later. And then how do I feel about this? I think this looks okay. I think I want to flip it upward a little bit more, so I'll make this part a little bit larger, and then this part will come in a little bit more smoothly. Let it whip around nice and hard. Okay, and then I'll put the light in. He's gonna just kind of sit all the way on this side here. Get those little spots that I think should be pinching just a little. Something like that. I'm just kind of trying to play with the lights a little bit to really get this flipping around the way that I think is interesting. And so far so good. I think that looks pretty okay. And I think over here is probably fine. I just want to take it back a little bit, so this way it's a little bit more behind. And you know, it's like I said, easiest way to show perspective, put something on top of something. So I'm trying to make it clear that this guy is on top of this guy. Okay, and I think that side looks pretty alright. How do I want to handle this side? Do I have the length of the dress right? Where are her knees? I actually think her knees are going to be right here, so I think this is actually a little long. I should get both of them, since I'm still doing science with those layers, but... there we go. They are copies, so I'll make sure to clean up the excess on both of them. Alright. Which does indeed mean that this part is a little bit long, but I'm not sure if I care. I've got to think about it for a second. I'll see what it looks like. How do you look a little bit shorter? Actually pretty good. Yeah, I'd say actually pretty good. Okay. I feel like now there's a little bit too much leg showing though, so I might make her a little bit bigger on the screen here. So one thing about character illustrations is that, you know, the face is probably the most important part, so the bigger you can make that, the more it'll stand out. So I do want to try to make her as big on the screen as possible. And there I just felt like there was a little bit too much of her legs showing. So I could afford to make her a little bit larger. I might have to go back over certain parts here because, you know, transforming things will make things a little blurry. It might mess with certain bits of aliasing and whatnot, but I think things look pretty okay, actually. I'm just taking a quick look over things and see if there's anything that is in desperate need of cleaning in my more finished areas. Incidentally, this is why you don't want to render everything too early. Because if something changes, it becomes a little bit harder to do that. Or you have to redo a bunch of stuff and it sucks. But I just really like having a face looking back at me, so there's a balance to be struck here. Okay, but I think that's pretty good. And now there's not quite so much leg showing. Legs, just not that important here. And I'm actually kind of glad that she has this dark sock thing, so that this way I can just put that on her leg and make it even more... make it disappear even more. Alright, what was I doing? Right. I have all of this painted in totally the wrong color, but it's fine. Okay. What do I want to do with you? I kind of like this little pinch right here, so I'll still keep it. And I'll just let it kind of come upwards just a little bit more here. We'll let it really just come on up. Okay, now I just need to get it dress shaped at the bottom here. There we go. And somewhere in there I need to put the dark color. Right around here, and then this one will kind of connect to it over here. I think it just kind of wraps around like that. And the next frill will kind of do something like this. And it'll connect down here. Okay. I think that's blowing around pretty nicely. I think it looks pretty good. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. Which means I think it is time to look away from it all for a bit. Let me take a look at the dress and see if I can find which pattern I enjoy more. I think I prefer this one. Let me get it wrapping around her legs a little bit better here. And actually, speaking of her legs, I think I want to make them just a touch thinner. There we go. No. This is Let's see, her upper thighs are going to be there, so this is more like knee. If I think about where they are, they're probably sitting somewhere here. Let's actually, like, draw them. Okay, so no, these are like the lower part of her thigh, probably getting through here. So I guess I should probably just put her socks on now. Let's do that. Or, no, this is leg and sock. I don't know what just happened, but I teleported and it was very awkward. Okay, what color is this exactly? They're kind of brownish stockings here. So this is probably a little bit more skin tone than they actually are. This is probably a pretty solid color though. So I can probably use this. Okay. Oop. Yeah, that's fine. I'll probably add a little bit of texture to that later, but for now, this is totally fine. And then I don't think we see the top of the leg things. I think those will be like up here. Okay. I feel like the body is a little bit small again. I mean, I want the head to look a little bit bigger than it otherwise would because it's coming forward. But I did feel like the body was a little bit small there. And then I think I want to lift her up a little. There we go. Now, one thing that I use to help determine where she should be vertically on the canvas is I want her to look like she's looking down at us, and also that we're kind of sitting below her here, somewhere around here. If anything, I should probably lower the horizon line in the background, but I'll worry about some of that a little bit later. So by putting her head higher up, it does make it look like we're more looking up at her. And it makes it look a little less weird that she's looking down. In fact, I think I can make her look down a little bit more here. I think I would like to. Yeah. That's pretty good. Okay. It is making her eye whites look a little bit large though, so maybe just a little bit more upward, and then I just take the pupil and the pupil alone and push it down a couple of ticks. Maybe I should just make her eyes just a little bit bigger too. Let's do that. Okay. Just want to move this one over a little. Oh, no, not rotation. Just move. I want her to make sure that she is looking at us. I think that will be good. Where the character is looking is really, really important, so I want to make sure I get it right. I don't want her to look like cross-eyed. For a second there, I did think she looked a little bit cross-eyed. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time just adjusting this until it is very much the way that I want it to be. And I'll be moving things back and forth a little. Okay, let's get her eyes back over here now that she no longer really looks that cross-eyed. But fortunately, the ability to flip the canvas is really nice here. Because once I have the gaze looking right, it should look like she's looking at what I want her to be looking at. Regardless if I have the canvas flipped horizontally or not. So she should be looking at the same spot roughly, regardless of how I have the canvas flipped. And that's a pretty good sign that I'm doing it right. So yeah, this looks pretty solid. And then I noticed that the little tiny lights I was putting on the blush here looked a little messy. So I would like to kind of fix them up just a little bit here. Especially on the nose. Okay. Let's see. All good? I think so, and I still like the lower part here, the way everything is fluttering, and I think it all looks pretty nice. Okay, I think I'm gonna go ahead and fully render the arm here. That should be pretty easy to do, actually. Let's just get it out of the way here. I'm gonna blend my colors here. I kind of like the wet knife for that. It's very convenient. It doesn't get it into a final state, but it does do a pretty good job of getting it started and making it a little bit easier for me to finish off with the airbrush. And I guess I should put in a few folds in there, but I will do that after. For now, I just want to just blend everything together like this. I'll go ahead and get the forearm too. So this one, I don't even have the colors fully placed. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Because I agree with my assessment that there should be a bright light there. I'll probably just a little bit more rim like this and let it transition smoothly. Alright, here we go. Let's blend it all in. And I'll add a little shadow on the edge of the glove here. A little bit later. Okay, and then that looks pretty tube-like, so I think that's fine. Let's go ahead and make all of this look nice. Okay, and then I think that's the base color here. I'll start with this guy. I'm just gonna kind of blend the rest out here. And then I will add folds, because I do think that there will be a few. Okay, just taking a look at the reference briefly. And I also want to make sure that I have some dark parts around the frills here. And I will change the outer shape just a little when the time comes. Okay. Now seems like the time. like I said, it'll change just a little. Just so that this way I can kind of see where those little folds that I drew are, you know, where they exist. Just the little tiny hint of where they are. There we go. Nothing too complicated there. Okay, so now I'm just gonna kind of blend it all in again and get everything just right. And I personally think that Krita's airbrush is perfect for getting clothing folds. Like, it does absolutely fantastically. I love the way it looks when it's all done. So I don't even have to try that hard. It is wonderful. I have to remind myself that my light source is below, not above. So I'm adjusting a couple of things accordingly. It can be very easy to forget. You get really used to lighting things from above. But no, I am explicitly going for a bottom lit thing here, so I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful. I gotta make sure I get that right. Just remind myself all the time, no, your light source is over there. Okay, so I'll just spend a little time blending this out. I'm just taking my sweet time at this point. I find these kinds of things relaxing. And with me not feeling great, you know, having a few relaxing points, it feels pretty nice. I could totally get into that just complete zen state when I'm rendering things and not having to worry about difficult things like perspective. It's like, oh, it's all done. Okay, time to just casually go. Till everything looks how I want it to look. Easy. Feels good after spending so much time on the dress there trying to wrangle everything into how I want it to be. I do think I will put a few light spots in this guy too, but I just kind of want to get all of this looking good first. Let's get it all nice. And I like putting this kind of pattern on tight gloves. And like ribbons as well. I think it looks pretty good. I just have a little bit of extra highlight there. A little bit of a more noticeable change. Oh, I'm at 133%. No wonder everything looks bad. I keep doing it. Keep doing it, man. I gotta stop that. Okay. Now then. Yeah, let's get that lighter color in there, which is for here. It's this one, right? Yeah. Okay, so this should be the final bit for this, and everything should look pretty fantastic with it. I'm gonna show where some of these folds catch the light and that kind of thing. It takes surprisingly little to make everything just look so fantastic. That's why I keep saying I gotta stop overcomplicating things. I just remember last time when I was getting really hung up on the pose and stuff. And, I was indeed just making things harder than they needed to be. It's like, it wasn't quite as extreme as I was making it out to be. It's probably why I couldn't get it to look right, because my mind was just... It was trying way too hard. It was trying way, way too hard. I think it's doing pretty well today. You know, despite feeling sick, I am actually feeling pretty alright here. I think it's nice when things are going well. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. So I kind of want to blend in the frills a little bit better here, so I'm going to go back up to them and put just a couple of shadows where I think they kind of go back. Just so hopefully that they are connected a little bit more strongly. Right now that they kind of feel like they're floating a little bit to me. I just want to get rid of some of that floating feeling. Just connect them in here a little bit better. Okay, then I see some of it must also be in the other group here, so that shouldn't be there. There we go. They're kind of getting in there now. Being careful about it because I don't want my colors to look too muddy. But there we go. I think that looks better. I think that's all I need to do, really. Okay. Let's go finish off the forearm. So this, I don't really have to pull any shenanigans out. It's just making it look smoother. That's about it, really. Let's see. This part looks a little bit blurry to me, so I'm gonna go just shave off a little tiny bit here and call that good, I think. Just enough to get rid of the blurry parts, and then I will just finish blending in the colors here. I'll probably put just a little tiny shadows underneath the glove just to give it a little bit more presence. Okay, where is my skin shadow color? Right there. And like I said, it's just gonna be a little guy here. Just a little guy. Just enough to show that, yes, there is a glove here, and yes, it is casting a little shadow. And it is tight against her arm. Oh, there we go. I think that's good. I think that's about all I need to do there. And then for this back part of her arm, that just needs to be touched up and connected. As always, very important to have your limbs connected. They work better that way. And I don't want to put too much detail on this guy, but I will add just a little bit of light here and a little bit of dark here. Just a tiny bit. I'm not even gonna brush it in with my hard brush. I'm just gonna very, very lightly do that, and then very, very lightly get that. And there. I think that's good. Might even be too much. Okay. Satisfied with that. Okay, so there's an arm. I don't think I want to do the sleeve just yet here. What do I want to do next? Do I want to start getting into her dress and stuff? But I do think it looks pretty good, so I could. First, I guess I'm just gonna stretch. Oh man, my arms were locking up a bit, so that felt pretty good. I think I'm actually gonna get the choker now. Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. Okay, so what do you actually look like? And I might even think about drawing some earrings now. I was gonna save those for near the end, but you know what? We are near the end. So I can draw them whatever I want, really. And then I look at them and I'm just like, am I sure I want to try to draw that right now? Oh man, that is a design. They are nice, but that looks super intimidating to draw. So let's go take a look at this guy here. I haven't actually drawn like the purple orb thingy sitting on it. Anyway. Yep, just black frill. Okay. Yeah, well, let's just clean it up. Gonna hide the frills for a second, just so I can really get this wrapping around her neck properly. I'm gonna have to redo a bunch of all these little spots that the ribbon or the frills are kind of cutting into because they're coming forward, but that's okay. Let's get our foundation nice and solid so that this way I can draw frills in peace. And roughly how thick is it? So I'd say that this is a little bit smaller than both the frills combined, but a little bit bigger than one set of frills. And the bottom set of frills is slightly larger than the top, but only slightly. Okay, and I want to get it wrapping around her neck just perfect. Before, you know, it was close enough. Close enough is no longer good enough. Everything must be getting into its final state now. And so the center of her neck is, you know, kinda... I'd say kinda over here. Probably doing something like this. So I'm going to draw this accordingly. Hello there, Yidget. Welcome back. Alright, let's just get this wrapping around there. I am a little sick, unfortunately, but otherwise pretty okay. And I feel like art is going very well today, despite me being a little bit sick, so that is nice. I feel like I have finally wrangled her torso into submission, so that makes me very happy. So now I'm starting to get into all of her accessories and stuff. And I just want to get all of these little pieces into their final state now. So that's what I'm working on. And I just want to get this all nice and smooth, especially on the bottom. The top, I think, is going to be erased a little bit to accommodate the frills, but the bottom will probably stay in this state. So I want to make sure it's nice and smooth. Okay. Nice and smooth, nice and round. Make sure it is wrapping around her neck just the way I want. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So I'll draw the base of the frills here. Let's see. I think I might actually just start over here because I don't like the way they look. I'll start with the bottom. So I want these kind of sitting on her shoulder a little. And let me give myself a shadow color because I think that'll make my life a little easier too. So this guy will be in shadow. I'll let them be a little bit rough for now, and I'll go in and fix them once I am actually happy with how they look. So I just kind of follow this pattern where they're light in one area, dark in another. And I'll let them kind of stick out in certain places where they don't quite follow that because of how they're being kind of pinched. And I'll just go all the way across. Like I said, still being a little bit messy, and I think that's fine. These are actually a little bit too big, so I'll have to fix the proportion a little, but I can do that. Let's do that now before I forget. Because these should actually be a little bit smaller than the actual choker part here. Just a little bit. I might even have the choker part a little bit too small, actually. I think I do. Okay, hold on. Before I do that, let me make sure I'm actually happy with this part, because looking at it and comparing it to the one on her, this takes up a greater proportion of her neck, I think. And while I am showing a little bit more of her neck because her head is tilted upward than the drawing there, I do think I made it a little bit too thin, nonetheless. And if I get it closer to the right size, then the frills should suddenly look a little bit more in proportion here. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so I think they're actually fine. My brain was onto something. It was warning me that I didn't have this part quite right. I appreciate the heads up. Okay, let's get this wrapped around properly again. And I will adjust the frills accordingly. So this part I kind of want more sticking out over here now. With this guy a little bit more like, I don't know, doing a thing like this. There we go. And then this guy over here doing a thing a little bit more like this. Kind of sticks out on the side there. And then maybe we get one more little guy kind of out there on the side. Okay. I will draw the other set now, and they are just kind of sticking upward and outward, so something like coming up here and doing a thing like this. This part should actually probably be dark, and this one light, yeah. So I'll shove those in there. Just get everything the way that I want. I have this backwards, I think. I do that a lot. It's fine. Up here, down here. There we go. And then I'll just draw my little zigzaggy lines here. Most of this is going to be in shadow, so... Okay, and I'll try to get them looking a little nicer now. Let them do frilly things. Some parts of this I do think will be overlapping the choker, so I will adjust that a little bit when the time comes. Okay, let me zoom out and take a look at it. Am I off to a good start there? I'd say so, so let me find the spots that kind of overlap the necklace. So I think these will be sticking out a little, and here as well. Over here, yes, definitely. And then I think there's a few on this part that will also be doing the same thing. Okay. Now I just want to fill in those spots. Yeah, and I think that's looking pretty good. So now I guess I just smooth out all the frills and stuff. Get everything kind of into its final state. And don't worry, everything will look a lot cleaner once I get through all this. I tend to start off a little bit messy. And for this, I'm kind of getting the overall shape and some of the interior looking right at the same time. Normally, I get the outside right, and then I worry about the inside after. But in this case, I find for frills that doing them together is a little bit easier for me. Just because I find that understanding where I'm putting the shadows affects how I want, or it makes how each frill should look a little bit more clear to me. So I can be a little bit more confident that I have them drawn correctly, so I just kind of do them together. I do want to do some proper frill studies someday. I'm not quite happy with how they all end up looking. So I'm just kind of doing my best and feeling it out for the time being. Fortunately, I don't think they look terrible. It's just, with as much as I'd like to draw clothes that have frills, I should have a deeper understanding of how they work, I think. It's just one of those things. I do like drawing me some frilly clothes, though. They are a good time. Okay, and I think I actually would like to just pull this entire side here just downward a little. Okay. I wasn't respecting the angle of the shoulders quite right, and I think this looks a little better. I think it is sitting on her shoulders in a nicer way. Okay. I'll put a little light here. It's not completely covered by hair, so I think a little light hair is warranted. And I'll finish off the rest once I lock the layer, so that this way I don't have to worry about coloring outside the lines. Alright, let's get the top ones. Almost there. And I think this will be another part that I just completely finalized, because I like the way that this part looks. I think it is sitting pretty nicely, and I think it has all just looked pretty okay for a while now. I did adjust a little bit on how things are sitting, but not that much. I might look away for a little while, but I do think it is about ready. Okay. Let's go ahead and perfect the choker itself. And I will add the little gem that's on it a little bit later. Okay, and I'm just kind of smoothing out these parts where I felt like the frills were kind of cutting into it, where they were overlapping and sitting on top. So that's why there's all these little weird shapes in it. These are just spots where I felt like the frills were overlapping. And that's why I wanted to shade the frills first. So this way I knew exactly where to erase part of this. There. And I guess I'll let him have just a little bit of shadow. Most of this should be in shadow, actually, but, actually, yeah, I think I will do that, where I have most of it in shadow and then just perhaps the slightest hint of highlight just right there. And a little bit at the bottom. Like I said, just the slightest hint. Alright, I've got a couple of gaps to fill in on the frill layer, but otherwise, I think it's pretty much ready, so I'll look away for just a little while. Go ahead and lock this layer. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Let's see, which area do I want to tackle while I'm making sure that I still like this? I don't really want to get this part, it's too close. Or the chest area, it is also a little bit too close. So I guess I can start kind of refining the outer part of the dress. Yeah, sounds good to me. Let's go. I think things will look pretty nice once I actually get all this looking really good. Okay. So goal here is to start smoothing things out. What are you? Okay. Got some excess here. So I've been doing a lot of scribbling in this area, so things are pretty rough. That's okay. It is time to fix that. Get everything just right. Let's see. I think this is actually a little off center, so I kind of want to push it a little bit further back this way. There we go. That's better. That's better. So I still want to maintain that slight curve that I had going in there. So I'm kind of pushing it back where I think it's important. There we go. Okay. And then this part should connect up here, so I want it facing this direction. And I'll have to draw me some more frills too. I am admittedly not looking forward to it, but it'll be okay. Okay, now I just want to get this curve all good. And unlike the frills that I was just working on here, I am basically only concerned with the outside. I am not worried at all about the shading inside just yet. I just want the outside to be nice and smooth, so this way I can go into the inside, fix all my colors, and then start worrying about how the shading on the inside works. Because right now things are pretty rough, and that's okay. Everything starts pretty rough. I think this is actually the second time I've had to go and smooth outer dress. I redrew pretty much the entire thing last stream because, I don't know, man, I just didn't like it. And I do think it looks a lot better now. So it was very worth. Very, very worth. So now I just gotta smooth out the new pattern. The material on this looked kind of thick, so I'm keeping this area a little bit rounder than I would if it was a thinner material. I think this might be a little bit excessively round, though. There we go. And I mentioned that I am really only concerned with the interior, or the exterior, but I'm still touching things up as I go, where it makes sense to. Here, I think it's a little hard to see, so I'm going to invert the colors for a little bit. We will go into horrible, horrible green mode. It's fine. That is a pretty terrible green, though. Holy cow. But yeah, it's only here so I can see what I'm doing. It'll go back to its original colors once I am happy with how things look. Okay. Yeah, this is looking pretty good, I think. I probably could have afforded to make the various frills smaller, but I think it looks fine with larger clumps like this. I'm not really feeling inclined to go back and redraw the entire thing a third time, so... Let's just go in and really connect all these pieces. Hold on, my foot's fallen asleep. There we go. Been sitting on it a little bit too long. Still not quite happy with the smoothness of this, so I'm gonna kind of go back over it until I am. This is one area I want to be a little particular about. That it is next to the light source. So this should help it all look pretty nice. I am so looking forward to adding all my foreground elements to this. I think this is going to look so cool once there's fog and cool things like that. I think it's going to look fantastic, and I am so excited. Fortunately, I think I'm well on my way to actually finishing off the character here, so hopefully I'll be able to do those cool things very soon. very, very soon. Okay. Spending a little bit of time on the interior there just because I wanted to make sure that I had the shape of this one out here. Okay. And I do. I do think it looks okay. It'll look even better once its shadows are in place properly. It's probably going to go something like this. And then I'll have a big fold down there. Just remember that while I have the colors inverted like this, the shadows are actually the lighter color right now. I've gotten kind of used to seeing it like that, but it can be kind of trippy. Let's see here. Get a little bit of dark in there, and I think that should be nice and clean. There we go. I don't like this arm. I'm gonna take a look at it real quick. I think I might just keep my original pattern of barely seeing it. Okay. I definitely had an idea when I was initially doing it, but it, meh. Meh. I think that sums it up. Okay. So yeah, I think that this still looks pretty good. Let me see, I'm not quite happy with how the frills are fanning here, so let me see if I can make that look a little better. You know what, I should make sure I'm only selecting the top ones, because the bottom ones I think are perfect. I don't want to mess with them. There's just a particular shape that I kind of have in mind here. I kind of want them to be coming a little bit more forward. Unfortunately, that is easy to kind of achieve via liquefy. Okay, I will have to adjust the outside, but I do think that this will look a little bit nicer once I actually have them all, you know, drawn correctly. And that will require me to kind of go back and forth here between erasing on the choker layer and drawing in the frill. But I think it'll look really good once it's perfect. Okay. Let's see, for here, I do want one kind of coming out over here a little. There we go. I think that looks a lot better. So I'm glad I decided to look away instead of just immediately jumping into rendering it like I wanted to. Gotta have that self-discipline sometimes. But I generally know that it is a good idea to just look away for a second. Okay. Smoothing out the necklace area a little bit too. Okay. Now what I think I'm going to do is kind of put the areas that I think should be shadowed in a shadow here, so they will have a bit less detail. And for this area, that's going to be a lot of them. Let's see, I think that these are fine. I'm just going to put a lot more darkness in the back. But I think I kind of want to do that near the end. So I'll keep a pattern like that. Okay, and I think even up here, what I would like to do is just darken some of these. But still keep like the occasional little light here. Just kind of where it's facing the light source. Okay, and I do think that looks pretty good. But once again, I think I will look away for a second before I go to work on that anymore. Now that I kind of have the outline of the dress looking good, I think I will get the waist frills here. I kind of want to change their color to something that's not neon yellow. That sounds pretty fantastic right now, so let's go ahead and get them. So to do that, I think I will just invert the color on the dress again and immediately paint these guys the right color, which is going to be this one with this as the shadow. Okay. Now I can kind of figure out how I want this all to be shaped. I think I will invert the colors on these straps too. There we go. And I think the dress as well. I just want to make everything nice and visible, and, you know, everything's going to turn a horrible shade of green for a bit, but that's better than not being able to see. It's the truth. All right, let's go. So this guy will just kind of come out. I don't mind it being a little extreme here. And I'll just start drawing in frill-like folds and stuff. Always start here. Let me see, how do they actually look on her again? Yeah, they don't overlap on the outside much. So this is probably a little bit strong, so let's get this kind of coming back a little. There we go. That looks a little nicer. So this will be the dark part. And I'll just go from here. Back and forth all day long. Just getting that general shape in. Okay, and I will let this part kind of overlap a little. There we go. And then I think over here, everything is just going to recede into shadow. So I think just a little pattern like this should be perfect. Okay, and once again, I think that this needs to come back a little. We'll get it all attached properly. And I'll just casually cut off the shapes there. And then I can just let them zigzag back and forth. See, this is why I keep saying that I need to study frills, because I don't think that this is actually, like, correct. It just looks okay. It's enough that I can kind of fake what I think that they should look like, but I think I can do this better if I study them a little bit better. And considering how nice frills look, and just how frequently they show up, it is high on my list of things to study. Very, very high. I just don't like the shape, and I'm struggling to kind of get it facing the direction that I want. Kind of wanted to point more this direction, but right now it's kind of pointing this direction. So I'm just gonna kind of sculpt at the edge a little bit until I'm happy. Okay, here we go. That seems okay. That's probably close enough. And for these, I think close enough is fine. These guys are just... They're not in a super important location, and they're going to kind of blend into all the stuff around it. So I think it'll be okay. But I will try to get these to change direction a little bit better than they currently are. Okay, so something like this. And then we have one sticking in there. And then there's probably... I can probably just put all of this in shadow, really. Okay. Let's go fix all my colors. And I think this is probably okay. I might want to adjust the ones on the side. I'm not really liking the way that they look, but... I think I have looked away from the part that I actually want to work on right now enough, so I will go do that. Yeah, and it's not awful. It's fine for now. Okay, let's go get these guys. And yeah, I think that they're looking pretty good. So I will just start blending my colors. Let's see, actually, right here is a little weird shaped. I think I want this to come forward just a little bit more there. Okay, the rest is fine. Alright, so I have a few spots where I think it makes sense for a little bit of light to shine through, so I will go shine it there. I'm just going to start at the top because I think it'll be easier. Most of this is in shadow, but there are just a couple of places where the light kind of shines. So that's all I'm trying to capture. There we go. You're a little blobby there, aren't you? I should fix that little bit of blobbiness. Okay, and this side, I think I can be a little bit more particular about how things blend together. So I'll think about which areas have soft transitions and which ones have harder ones. I think this one's harder, but this one will be very soft. So I'll go ahead and do some preliminary blending here. With my wet knife, I think it does a pretty good job of just getting some of those in there. And I think this will be soft. I had to think about that one for a second, but I do think it will be soft. And I think this side will be pretty soft too. He's just blending pretty smoothly with everyone else. He just wants to get along with everyone. I think this side will be soft, and the other side will be hard. And this one I think will be mostly in shadow with just a little bit of light shining through. So I'm actually going to shadow that spot. And then I will go back and add just a little bit of lightness via airbrush. I think I will do that right now. This way I remember exactly where it is. There we go. And I do want it to be a little bit hard right here, so I'll go ahead and get that kind of effect here. The Krita's airbrush is so good at those kinds of little things. It's fantastic. That was the big thing that made me want to switch away from Photoshop, is that I hated their airbrushes, and so it took forever to blend anything. Krita's airbrush is fantastic, though, so I will use it all the time. Okay, so I'll just get all these transitions looking nice. And that should be it for here. I'll probably need to do a little bit of blending for everything, and then I'll put the little gem on, of course. But we're reaching the end here of this little accessory. I am hoping that within the next couple of sessions, the entire character will be finished, and I can finally get started on the background. I have been looking forward to drawing that castle for so long. That castle is basically the whole reason that this image exists. Okay. Oh yeah, just time to blend things out and make everything look nice. Rendering nice and brain dead. I've already made most of the decisions here, so now I just need to make things look nice. It is the perfect thing to do when you're feeling sick. I don't have very many decisions left to make. I can't completely turn my brain off. I think completely turning your brain off is a bad idea in general, but I can get pretty close, and it feels nice because my brain is a little tired today. I'm glad that I didn't have to do a bunch of perspective wrangling. Feels good. Perspective is it's still just pretty hard for me. I think it'll be that way forever, just because every time I learn something, I'm just like, oh, now I can do this stupid thing. I have enough knowledge that I can attempt more ridiculous things and do more dumb poses. Hell yeah. And it never stops. Good way to be, I think. Albeit perhaps a little painful sometimes. But I wouldn't have it any other way. Being able to do all the things in my head is, you know, why I learned how to draw in the first place. So it's like, if I get an idea in my head, I want to be able to make it happen. Even if it's dumb. Especially if it's dumb. It's like, if it's dumb, yeah, I'm not going to be able to find that any other place. And then I can make it real enough that everyone can see it. And they can enjoy all the dumb things in my head, and it's fantastic. Truly. Alright, think I've got most of these frills done here. Alright, and I just see that there's a little hole I didn't fill in, so I want to grab that really quick. Okay, and I guess I will put on just basic finishing touches here. kind of blend it in with the necklace a little bit better here. Let this kind of come further back and connect in here a little better. And I think I want this part to actually connect right there as opposed to where I had it before. I do think that looks a little bit better. Okay. And I don't think that this area needs any bright highlights. It's mostly in shadow. It's facing away from the light source. So, I think that's all fine. Just adding a little bit of shadow to let it curve a little. I've just always felt like that kind of thing has looked nice, so I like to go ahead and do it. Okay, and I think that's good there. So now I guess I'll add that little purple gem. What color is it exactly? It's probably about the same color as these. Looks about the same. And I'm feeling bold, so I'm just gonna plop it right on the same layer. Where's the center of her neck exactly? Head facing this way. So neck is probably also facing slightly that way. So I think the center is like right here. Oops, wrong brush. Maybe I'm not feeling bold. Okay. It's like that's the center of her neck, but it's twisting, so I think it's actually closer to the center line for her chest. Probably more like right there. Is that about the right size? I'd say so. Just want to make sure it's placed properly there. Okay. And I don't think I have any shades for the purple colors yet. I mean, no, I do. Because this is the same kind of purple. Not exactly, but it's close enough. So I'm just going to use the same shadow color here. Once again, my light source is coming from the bottom, so I want the shade to be on top. Actually, I want a color that's a little bit darker here. There we go. Okay, and yeah, I think I'll just add a little specular light there and call it good. Just to make it look a little bit shinier. And then let me see, is this like... Okay, it's not clear if it's like inset or something, so I'll just put a little shadow over on the back side of it. Okay. Just let it sit inside here. There we go. Alright, so now I want to put some shadows on the neck and, you know, from the hair and from the choker here. So I think that will be my next step. Let's finish off the neck. I want just a little bit of shadow under the chin to differentiate where the neck and the chin are. Just a little bit, and it'll be a lighter shadow than everything else, because the light is shining very strongly on the neck here. And I see that I've got a little hole. So let's fill that in. Okay, so this is where I want to perfect the angle of the neck. So I think it does something kind of like this. It's going to be mostly buried in hair here. Probably should have done that before putting in my little shadow, honestly, but... Okay. Yeah, it looks pretty attached. Doesn't look too thick to me. I'll go ahead and kind of correct the couple of spots where her shoulders are sticking out there. Okay, that seems fine. I don't think I have this angled right. I want to revisit that. Nope, nope, no, I did want you to move over there. Okay, let's try this again. I think I had it pointed a little bit too far out there. A lot of this is going to need to be redrawn, but that's fine. I'll just do what's necessary to help me understand. What's necessary to help me understand, and then I can get the rest. Does that look a little better? I think so. And then on the top here, I think I want the center line to be a little further over. There we go. Something like that. Yeah, I think that looks pretty okay. And then I think this needs to come a little further over too. Which will also bring the strap that connects it just a little further over as well. Okay. Still correcting things there. I don't know why my brain is having so much trouble with that, but it sure is. It sure is. And once again, I think I have this a little off center, so let's bring it on over here. Only a little, though. See, that's why I didn't want to work in this area yet. I said I wasn't ready. And I do believe that to be true still. I definitely do. I am feeling how not ready for this I am. It's okay, I'll get there. At some point, everything will just be placed and it'll be wonderful and I will be so happy. Just gotta keep poking at it. It's alright, I won't give up. I like this picture a lot, so I just want to make sure that it looks really nice in the end. Okay. Yep, looks a little better to me. And actually, I do think that due to angles, that you should be a little bit higher. That these two things should be a little bit closer together than they otherwise would be, just due to this coming backward. It's all perspective. It's all perspective. Okay. And I want to make this triangle a little bit more stable, I guess. A little bit less fuzzy. I think that will also help me see. So the gem will hang off just a little bit. She's not at an extreme angle or anything, but I do think it is enough that the gem will appear to be hanging off of it. And this, I think, just needs to be thinner. I can't achieve that with just a regular free transform because it's at an angle. So I'll just push it a little bit with liquefy. Okay. And I'll reattach it here, and I guess I'll rotate it very slightly. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that looks like it's sitting a little bit better on her chest there. And I think her chest is also sitting better on her chest, which is important. Very, very important. Okay. I get the feeling I'll be poking at that for a little while longer still. Alright, let's go back to the neck. You know, the thing that I was planning on doing now. And I want some shadows from the choker and her hair. But the rest will be firmly in the light. Anytime I looked at a reference image of people being lit from below, this was always very much true. Where the neck was super, super bright. And just completely covered in the light. And I'll be putting the shadows a short distance away from the hair, because the hair is not right up against the neck here, so I want to show a little bit of distance here. And don't worry that things look a little bit messy right now. It'll all come together. I just need some time to draw. Everything always starts just a little bit. It's fine. I'd say creativity in general is pretty messy, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay. So I'm just keeping this mostly one big shadow shape rather than just kind of bringing out all the little hairs and stuff. I'm just keeping this one as reference here. And I think that looks pretty nice, so I'll go ahead and leave it like that. Okay, now I'm just kind of smoothing it all out. I'm keeping the edge pretty hard. That the light source is very bright, so I don't want it to be too soft. Here, I might make it just a little bit lighter, since it is just from a slight little strand of hair there. But there we go. Now all the shadows are in. Okay. So I'm not sure how much I'm feeling up to digging into her dress here. Because I do think I should get the chest part before I get the lower part, because how the lower part moves around and how it's going to be lit will depend heavily on this part that doesn't actually, like, move. And I am not entirely convinced that it is correct, and I'm also not entirely convinced that I have it in me today to make it entirely correct. The joy of it being near the end of stream and also being sick. Okay, let me fix some of these lights here. So I'm not sure what to do about you. The side of the dress is still a little bit of a mystery to me. How everything is supposed to connect over here. I don't think this looks too bad, though. I do think I want this to be a little bit more in shadow than I currently have it. But the main thing is that I don't want it to be like this shadow. I think this is too dark. But this is too light, so I guess I'll just brush over this lightly. Yeah, I guess that's okay. Yeah, I guess that's okay. I don't know, there's still something about the pose that just doesn't feel quite right to me. It might just be that there's something in her lower body that's off. Maybe her upper torso is too big somehow. I'm not quite sure. And that's kind of where I'm struggling for the moment. I guess I'll do a little bit of science here and see if I push this back, does it look better? Maybe a little. Reconnect all this onto that, or I just moved it all. Yeah, I guess a little. So it's probably related, and then, I don't know, if I add more places where this is like bunching up, will that look better? Where it's kind of going back and then coming back forward? Let's try it and see what happens. 'Cause something's off, man. And I'm still having trouble identifying it. And it's... Art is hard. It is. Let me just add some bunching up here, and then I can adjust the bottom accordingly. It's fine. Let it still blow around, but just make it clear that it's being pinched really hard. I don't know. I think this is looking a little better, so I'll keep it like that. I'm not quite sure how to handle the bottom yet, so I'm not going to. But yeah, something like that's pretty good. I guess that does make it look like it's going a little bit further back there. And I think if I do it a little better, it'll be even better. So if I just follow this flow just a little bit better here, where back here and then down. Let's do that. Back here and then down. And then I can flutter however it wants. Okay. Yeah, I think this is good, getting somewhere. I think it's getting somewhere. Yeah, I think that looks pretty okay. It's got a little bit more of a pinch at the waist. So I think that's good. That definitely did help. And then all of this comes after the waist, all the dress. So I don't really need to adjust that. I guess I can start adjusting its colors. So I want to get the colors right. Which one was your shadow? This one. No, this. Yeah, this one. Because these areas I think should be slightly lighter. And those can still stay very dark. Probably doesn't make that big of a difference yet because I need to put in some of the midtones still. But it's fine, I can do that. Okay. So yeah, that helped a little. It's still very bright, as it should be. Let's bring the lights all the way to the end here. Alright. So yeah, I'd say that's a little better. I still don't really trust myself to tackle this area just yet, so I'm not going to do that. What do I feel like doing with like the last 20 minutes I have here? Well, you know what? I mentioned wanting to derp around at the foreground a little, so maybe I will derp around at the foreground a little. Okay, good. I already have rocks covering some things. I haven't been super satisfied with my fog, and fog is one of those things that's not super terrible to draw. So I might just clear my fog layers for now and draw it a little bit more properly. I don't remember what color I used for it, but I can use pretty much whatever color I want. Let me find some nice fog reference. Okay. So I think I want a little bit more cloudiness to it, if that makes sense. Alright, then I'm thinking about what kind of color I want to use for it. I like the kind of slightly red I have, but I think I'm going to make it slightly more purple. So it'll be more in like the realm of the pinks. Maybe something like this. I'm not sure if this is the color I'm going to use, but I'll go ahead and put it in the swatch for now, just so I don't lose it. So let's see what it looks like. That's a little bit too pink, isn't it? What color did I use before? Probably something out in this realm. Little browner. Okay. Oh yeah, so in the same realm, just I probably had it a little bit too light. Okay, let's see here. So I'm just gonna add some vague cloud shapes here. I might actually put it behind the rocks. That's kind of what I did the first time, but I think I can make it look better if I'm just more deliberate about how I plop things down. Add just a little bit of haze here. Not quite sure where it's going yet, but it'll go somewhere maybe. And then I want to add some light colors. I do kind of like the colors I have going on in the clouds, so I'll use some of them. Just occasionally looking over at things and kind of seeing how they're structured together. Okay. And I think I might switch to my big texture brush. Just make it a little bit more textured, a little bit less smooth, I guess. I don't like it at all. Fortunately, it's like I already didn't like what I had for the fog, so it doesn't really bother me that I started over. But yeah, I don't know, I'm not feeling it. I think part of it's the color, and part of it is something else. So maybe I'm not in a good head state to do proper. I lament that our body and mind are connected so much, so if your body feels bad, your brain feels bad too. It's like, man, why can't I think when I have an upset stomach? Life is hard. I don't know. What do I want to do? Okay, well, yeah, that's not quite working out for me. I do like the kind of rock shapes I have here already. I don't really think I need to do much more with them. I guess I'll fill in a little gap I see here. Well, otherwise, I think these ones are okay. Jesus Christ, what are they doing out there? I think I will add a little bit of light from the magic circle around the rim. I'm going to keep it pretty blurry. I'm going to keep it really blurry. But this way, it just has a little bit more presence, and it will also make the magic circle look like it's glowing a little bit harder. But, you know, still very blurry, very subtle. I want the foreground to be nice and blurred. Okay. And I think they were actually in pretty good spots. I don't think I need to add anything more there. The bats themselves, I think, will carry the rest of the foreground things. So that's probably where I will leave those. Do I want to maybe refine some lights? I guess I can. I mean, her face is basically done, so I can refine some lights here. Let's actually smooth some of this out then. Okay, yeah, sounds good to me. Let me hide my swatch. It is in the way. And I'll start actually, like, figuring out where I want some of these lights and darks to be. So for the most part, this is going to be the lighting from the moon, but I think that there will be some areas that I keep a little bit lighter than they otherwise would be, just because I think that the magic circle light source will hit them hard. So it's going to be somewhat of a balancing act between these two things. But I can just go through and start cleaning this up on areas that I think I have about done, like her arm here. I think this will be strongly lit by the moon. Lots of little rim light going on here. On both sides. Yeah, I do think that there will be some on her shoulder too. This area I haven't finished yet though, so I don't want to go too deep into it. But I can get this part. Once I actually go through and get this right everywhere, I think it's going to look super, super fantastic. I am so excited for it. This kind of atmospheric lighting just makes an image, in my opinion. It just elevates it so hard. It's great. So I look forward to showing that to you all. Just how big of a difference it can make. Okay, so a lot of these I still want to be dark, but some of it will be lit. Okay. So I'm adding some subtle touches, kinda on some of the rims here, just because I do think a little bit hits there. So the nice part about this is that it's not like on or off. I can have some gradation and granularity to it, so that's always nice. I don't want it to get too soft, though. I think making it too soft will make it lose some of its character. Okay, let's get a little bit over the shoulder here. I don't think I want to do any more in that area, so let's just go do the face. So I think that her chin will be hit strongly by the rim light, or by the, the moon in the back. So I'll get all that in there. It'll be quite strong over here too, I think. Covered by the hand somewhat. But only somewhat. So I'll put a little bit there, where the light doesn't hit. And then here, that's going to hit like all of the bottom. And then, so that there's this part where we see the lower part of her chin here, because her head is tilted back. It's a little bit more clear like this. But I do think it hits part of the front plane as well. So I'm making it a little bit thicker than I otherwise would. Okay. All right, now I have the hand actually I have the hand entirely finished here, so I can put some spots where I think the light will hit here. I'm just filling some of these areas in shadow. It's going to be taken back. This is more shadow than I think is necessary. So I will take it back a little. And I'm just trying to get the shading in the hair the way I want it, and, just everywhere. I'm thinking very, very hard about where I think the light from the moon is coming from. So, I'm kind of doing this twofold. So there's this, where this is covering where I think the light basically hits it, and then this layer here that I'm going to do later is like where it's really where it's getting hit the most. So here I'm going to be clearing out, more areas than probably looks like is necessary. I'm just thinking about the areas that are kind of touched by that. And then the other layer will be just for the brightest points. And hopefully that will make the picture sing. That's when I know I've done well, when I can hear the song of the picture. It's one of those things I'm not sure how to describe, but I feel it in my heart. And I'm just like, ah, yes, this is perfect. I know it when I see it. I'll get a little bit in on the fingers here. They're getting a little bit weaker as I go down. But this one will be entirely lit on the side, I think. As the light from the moon just kind of hits all the edges of her body. General idea there. Kind of cleaning it up here now because it's a little bit rough, and I will add a few more places to this hand afterwards. But you can see that I'm not lighting the tip of her finger very strongly, because that is pressing right up against her face here. So I don't think any light gets through. Okay, now I kind of want to add a little bit on kind of the front of her fingers here. Just a little. I actually like what I've done with the mouth here already. I don't think it needs that much more. And I think I will indeed add a little to the side of her nose like I started doing there. And I'm hopeful at some point everything will just feel right. It's not there yet. I don't expect it to be there until I get the brighter lights in. But I can get it started. I think most of the little tiara is going to be lit here. Most of this hair. Probably pretty much all of it, actually. So I'll get a big brush and just clear all the shadows out of here. Okay, and I can even get the choker a little too. Get some of the spots through there. Make sure that all the other spots are filled in as I think they should be. But since these colors are already dark, it's not going to make that big a difference. But I do think that the subtleties are important here. Okay. And let's see. I'll go clean up some of the stuff around here, but I want to kind of go back and start adding the shadows too. Start putting them back where I think that they should exist. And go back and forth until I'm happy with how it looks. Should add a little bit more three-dimensionality to her hair. And there will be some light shining on the neck, especially over here. And a little bit over here, I think. I'll have to be careful to repaint the hair correctly. Okay. I think most of this strand is going to be lit, but a lot of the areas on the other side will not be. And then some areas over here will also be lit. I'm going to go ahead and start putting in the shadows first, and then I can kind of decide where the light comes in. And most of down there is going to be lit, so I'm not even going to paint shadows down there. Put a little bit over here just to add a little bit of interest, but I'm definitely going to have to pull this one back. I just want a little bit of separation for the strand up here. Okay, I'm going to come back up here now. I think a lot of the top of her head will be lit, so I'm kind of adding a subtle gradation there. So here we go. Kind of finalizing the area by her face. And you can see that I have her eyes not in the light. This, strictly speaking, does not make sense, but it looks better. So I'm doing it like that. Strictly speaking, this area should definitely be totally shadowed, but you know what? It looks better, so it doesn't matter. Not in the slightest. makes her look a little spookier too. So that is obviously wonderful and just how I want to do it. Okay. Gonna put a little bit more shadow around that strand just so it looks a little bit brighter. So after all, what makes something look bright is not the color, it is the contrast. So if you want something to look brighter, make the areas beside it darker. Okay, and I think that's pretty good. So I might still add a few more details to her face. Maybe just a little bit more lightness on this cheek over here. And on her chin over here, I guess. But otherwise, yeah, I think that's looking pretty alright. And I think that this might actually be a pretty good place to start. So let's go put the foreground back. And the light. It should look really good once I'm actually able to get this layer looking the way that I want it. Because right now it's just kind of all over the place, but I mean, look how glowy that hair looks when I get it. So once I get all that right, it should look pretty good. But yeah, next time I'm hopeful that I can get most of the way through the dress here. And I think the dress is like the last big thing I have to worry about here. And so the character should be about done. I'm gonna be happy when that happens. Stretch. Alright. There we go. We got to have some fun with lighting today. Lighting is just a blast, so always glad. Oops. When I can do that. But I think this is where I will stop for today. So, thank you all for coming. And I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I will see you all tomorrow. Oh, did OBS crash again? Well, that's awkward. I can't switch to my end screen. OBS, why you gotta be like this? I'll give it a sec. Come on, buddy, you can do it. Come on. Well, okay, I guess no end screen again. I don't know why OBS is doing this to me. It's very upsetting. Well, I'll see you all tomorrow.